Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Orlando, and home buyers are buying fixer-uppers instead of buying houses that you can readily move into, turnkey houses. So home buyers are literally saying, you know what? We don't want to deal with this crazy housing market right now, but instead we're going to go ahead and jump into a fixer-upper. Now, this could turn out bad, right? I mean, you couldn't lose more money if you just would have bought into the property as a turnkey property, right? I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. But let's jump right into this article. It says, frustrated home buyers turn to fixer-uppers. Okay, it says, Patrick, a 25-year-old tech worker, had his heart set on buying a home in Reading, Massachusetts area where he grew up. He wasn't looking for a fixer-upper. Now, before we go further, I just want to say fixer-uppers in this market, not only do you have to deal with someone who's going to compete just like you, someone who wants a turnkey property, but is going to try to kind of just skip the line and think that you're being clever by doing this, but you are facing the wave of investors that want to buy into that property, fix it up, and put it back on the market. But here's the secret. Here's the secret, guys. Those guys are more experienced than you. But this guy doesn't seem to know that. He thinks he's a great handyman and he can do it himself. And you know, what could go wrong with this? That turned out to be nearly impossible as home prices in the small town north of Boston accelerated. The first house he submitted an offer for fetched $70,000 more than the asking price, only to be flipped for another $60,000. I mean, that seems really appetizing. Now, let's just look on this guy's side. He's putting in these offers and he's putting in $70,000 over asking price. Now, that was his first mistake. I get you want to buy into a house, but can you imagine, guys, putting in $70,000 more, 70K more than what the asking price is on a turnkey, ready to move in house? That's what you're paying for. Doesn't that seem crazy? That seems insane. Why would you want to pay much more? You have to know what's coming around the corner. Maybe you don't, but I'm here to tell you a crash is coming around the corner. There is no way that $70,000 is going to stay inside of your home when we turn the market. It's going to drop drastically, and you're not gonna feel too good when you're below that on the market value of your home that you just paid 70K over for. And I wonder, what do those appraisals look like? Saying, oh yeah, this house is worth 70K more than what the purchase price is. Are they saying, no, it's worth what the purchase price is, or maybe 10 to 20,000 over? And then the person has to come up with the extra $50,000, whatever the negative balance of that is, because the bank is not going to finance in if the house isn't worth that. If the house isn't worth it, you have to come up with the extra money. It is on you. So not only do you have to come up with the down payment, but you're gonna have to come up with that difference from that 70K from whatever the purchase price is, which is insane, So this is what this guy is looking at. And he's just saying, you know what? I think I'm going to jump the line and be smart about this. And I'm going to go get a fixer-upper and have that equity wrapped into it. They got their lunch handed to them. It was a lose, 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 said David Schnover, the mortgage originator Patrick worked with. Patrick, a first-time home buyer, was competing with buyers who were waiving basic contingency requirements or putting in offers that far exceeded the seller's asking price. Guys, this is how crazy this market is. People are saying, you know what? Why look at the house? You know, why do I need an inspection? Look at the sewer? Look at the bones of the house? Oh no, that's crazy. I'm not going to do that. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to offer you $70K more than what the asking price is. But I'm also not going to look at the house or do any inspections, because who needs that? I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with this house. That's what people are doing. That's insane. After months of slogging through a string of disappointments, Patrick turned to a renovation loan and started looking at fixer-uppers. He got his house a bet with cabinets that hadn't been updated in 25 years. So he got his house. He's thinking to himself, I'm going to just go ahead and get a renovation loan. And I'm here to tell you from a finance guy, right? The amount that you have to drop in for a renovation loan versus a regular FHA or conventional loan or something like that is mighty different. It's not the 3%, 3.5% that you normally would do. You're putting in 20 to 25% down deposit. Yes, you will get probably the renovation portion of it, probably at a good 90 to 100%, but it is a headache to try to get some of that stuff taken care of. As far as upfront, a lot of the times you have to pay upfront to the contractor and then reimburse the contractor after they have done the work and it has been reviewed to make sure that everything is up in code. So not only do you have to put down the 20 to 25%, but you have to have the money upfront in a sense, even though you're going to get reimbursed. You still have to have that money in your account so you can do those repairs by yourself. So just be aware of that, guys. Just be aware of that. And then you have to think, he says he's gonna knock out cabinets, probably do the kitchen, do all that other stuff. It really doesn't say how much money he's going to put into it, but I am just guessing. You're probably putting in $100,000 in renovations easily between the kitchen, living room, flooring, painting, all this other stuff, $100,000 easy. And just think of this. If the cabinets haven't been updated in 25 years, I can only guess everything else in the house is original, which means bathrooms, kitchen. If it has a basement, it's just on and on and on. And $100,000 easily. Snover said that a few real estate agents suggest that buyers purchase a home with a renovation loan, sometimes because they are unfamiliar with the process, which has its complexities. Like I just said, guys, it is not the same. Going through a process to get a rehab loan is totally different than a regular turnkey ready type of loan. I mean, you have to do background checks on the contractor. Contractors have to have insurance and be bonded. Like I said, you got to have the money up front. There's just so much things that are different that would scare a normal person away from this. This is the reason why investors do these type of loans, because they are experienced, they know what they expect, and they're willing to kind of jump through those hoops to get the deal done. A regular person who just wants to just buy a home for their family and live in it and that's it, it's made different, guys. It's not made for those type of individuals who just want to skim through a process and just get into a home. Most sellers, if given the choice, would seldomly choose a lengthy construction financing process to a cash offer on a dilapidated house. And so that's another thing, guys. You have sellers out here who have, ugly houses, right? And they are used to dealing with someone who's gonna say, hey, I'll just give you cash offer for this. And then boom, they'll do the construction portion later, versus someone who says, hey, I'm gonna do a rehab loan and it's gonna take 2 months and you're gonna have to wait for this whole 2 months to get your money. Nobody, no seller wants to deal with that. In this market, you have a choice of who you're going to sell the property to. You have a choice of going with the person who's gonna give you cash, the person who's gonna pay you more, the person who's gonna close the fastest. You have options. And for someone to be able to choose you, who is going to make the process better for you and not for them, it's going to be hard, guys. It's going to be hard. Most buyers want a move-in ready home, and few want to put up with the hassle of hiring a contractor. But being willing to buy a fixer-upper home with cosmetic deficiencies could allow savvy buyers to skip the bidding wars altogether. Now, that is true, but let's look at the key word: savvy buyer. You have to be a savvy buyer. Now, what does a savvy buyer mean? Not all the time, but most of the time, it means an investor. Someone who knows the market in and out, knows that, hey, if I put 100,000 in here and I sell it for this, then I'll make a profit of this. Most individuals who just want to buy a home in a good school district, they don't really know much about that. They really don't. And I can promise you guys, this guy is gonna overspend on this property, put in 100,000, 20, 40, just go in and put in all this money into this property, only to find out that there is a bigger issue within the property. Foundation, pipes, sewer, a roof, HVAC system. It just can go on and on and on. And I promise you, this guy is going to find out there's going to be a hefty price that he's going to have to pay to get into this property. He thought that he was going to basically save money by going into this property, but in reality, he's going to end up paying more money in this property because I doubt this guy is a savvy buyer, because it sounds like he just tried to cut corners to get away from paying the high overpriced values. But here's the thing, guys. If you're a regular buyer who's trying to overpay, that tells me you're not a savvy buyer to begin with. I mean, you're trying to pay $70K over the asking price of a house, then it doesn't sound like you're too savvy to me. Let's be real. He has no experience doing this. No experience. You're gonna get into some trouble, find out some underlining things about the house, and then be stuck with having $100,000, renovation budget, but then you find out you're going over budget 50, 60,000. You put in 25% down on the house, so you end up coming out losing a ton of money, guys. Long story short, guys, long story short, don't do fixer-uppers. If you are trying to get into a house and try to get your family to, don't be the Mr. Fix-It guy thinking you're gonna go in there and fix up everything and get a cheaper house. Don't do that. Do the regular inspections. Don't overpay on houses. This market is way too high, right? It is way too high. The price that people are willing to pay is ridiculous. Don't get caught up in the hype, guys. But anyway, I hope you guys got value out of this content. I'm gonna need you to watch this next video here to get you into your first rental property, also to keep you up to date on what's going on in the housing market, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.